My boyfriend, 26, and I, 24, have been together for 3 years. We live in NYC and he makes over $200K per year, while I'm studying for my master's in social work and have no income. Right now I'm doing an unpaid, yearlong internship 3 days/week, as well as classes 2 days/week. It's rare to get a paid internship in social work, plus internships are mandatory. I spend 12 hours every day either working, studying, commuting, or in class. My only free days are on weekends, so I have no time for a paid job. My mom helps me financially by paying for my metrocard and healthcare expenses, but everything else I rely on loans. Before I moved in with my boyfriend there was a roach infestation in my apartment, so I'd stay over at his place a lot. My lease was ending soon, so he asked me if I wanted to live with him. At first I joked with him that his living standards would go down since I can't afford a nice place, but he insisted on paying the rent until I finished grad school, then we would split the rent based on income. I originally wanted to live in a cheaper place in Queens or Brooklyn, but my boyfriend likes his current place and insisted I move in since he would be the one paying the rent. So I moved into his $5K per month luxury condo in the city this August. All of a sudden my boyfriend recently started asking me to pay half the rent, $2.5K per month. I was confused because he was the one who wanted to pay the rent in full. Apparently he was talking to his friends and they all think it's weird that I don't pay rent and that I was a gold digger. I let my boyfriend know that I can't afford $2.5K per month and he said I was leeching off of him, so I told him that he should find someone within his social class so he doesn't have to worry about a gold digger like me leeching off of him. I stayed at my friend's place for a few days while figuring out what to do. I called my mom about my situation and she is willing to help me out, but the maximum she can afford for rent is $800. I found some places in Queens within the price range, less than 15 minutes away from the city and a bus ride away from my school, so I went to check them out a couple days ago. I've been texting the landlord and my new roommates and I already signed the lease. I told my boyfriend about my new place and he got upset and asked me to stay. He said that he was willing to accept $800 per month instead of $2.5K per month if that's all I can afford, but I told him I don't want him changing his mind again and demanding more money from me in the future. He lived in this condo alone for several years, so it's not like he can't afford to live there without my help. I wouldn't mind splitting rent with him, but I would have to live in a more affordable place outside of Manhattan like I originally wanted. Apparently some of our mutual friends think I'm being unreasonable for moving out instead of talking to him and staying by paying the amount I can afford in rent, and that I shouldn't have let him pay my portion of the rent. Update: yes, I did dump him. I blocked him and his idiot friends on everything. My friends also blocked him since he tried to contact me through them. I'm going to enjoy being single and never relying on a man financially ever again. Not the idiot. They think you're being unreasonable? That's rich. He literally convinced you to move into his apartment, turning down your offers to find a cheaper place so you could contribute. The fact that his friends see you as a gold digger and don't appear to know the full story, the fact that you offered to pay and to find a cheaper place and he insisted otherwise, is also a red flag to me and makes me question how he talks about you to his friends. Definitely not the idiot, and I would question why you would want to date someone who is so easily influenced by his friends' uninformed opinions of you. Not the idiot. Your boyfriend has already proven that he's not trustworthy, and prone to changing his mind on things that you thought were settled. Get out, and leave him to commiserate with his rich friends. There's simply no point in talking to a person like that, since no stable arrangements can be made. You are absolutely not the idiot for making sure you have a place to live. To be honest, calling you a gold digger sounds like a way to hold something over your head and make you feel indebted to him, and the fact that Hess upset you actually won't be relying on him after all is very telling. He misled you on the situation and you did the smart thing by handling your own business. If he can't be happy with you unless you need him for a place to stay, but is also going to use that over your head, he's not a very nice person. Going to begin with saying that legally I am in the clear. It's my property and I can do as I wish with it. I bought a piece of land and had a house built on it recently. There was a gravel road, now paved, that has become my driveway. I guess before I lived there the locals used it to get around faster. I've been told that if they can't use my driveway it makes the travel 15 minutes longer. This started when I moved in. The stuff like the yard and surrounding area was not finished, but it was complete enough to move in. My driveway is long and can be exited or entered from two sides. With how the house is built for them to use my driveway as a shortcut, a lot of traffic would pass right by my house and cars every day. This isn't just people driving. People on bikes and walkers want to use it too. I simply do not want the whole town driving through my driveway every day. I realized it was a problem when I moved in and could constantly hear cars driving through all hours of the night. Or voices of people talking and people walking right past the cars. I understood that this property was vacant for a while, so I put up signs saying that this is private property. You can clearly see a house there, and I'm sure they saw it being built. No change. So I put up gates that only me and my wife have access to. It doesn't deter the walkers, but I have plans for that. This caused a big fuss. I've had numerous people knock on my door asking why I put a gate up, saying they will be late to work or school. I had a guy say I made him late to an interview. I just tell everyone that this is private property and that this house didn't just appear here. You saw it built. You saw the signs if this were a route you use daily. Apparently the police use this as a speed trap area, and I've had police ask me to open the gates. I tell them no. My wife normally is the type to let people use the driveway, but this wasn't normal. Imagine the whole town using it like a shortcut. There was so much traffic constantly. The first complaint I got before the gates were up was when I parked my car on the driveway and not on the part in front of my house, because it was blocking the traffic. I responded, the traffic of my property? I've had cops tell me I'm obstructing their work. My direct neighbors understand, but town people are just upset that their shortcut is gone. They are pretty upset about the house being here altogether. People would park their cars all over the driveway and my property during sport events. High school football is important around here. I'm not trying to be an evil neighbor. Am I the idiot? Edit. I've talked to lawyers and this is my property. I initially didn't want the two outlets because to me it looks odd. I only have one entrance to my driveway paved and the other one is gravel. I was just going to leave it, but now I will just remove the outlet entirely. My land is still under construction and there will be a fence going completely around my property. Not the idiot. I would also be concerned about liability. What if there was an accident on your driveway? Someone could potentially sue you. If you've not done so already, I would post private property all over and follow through with your plans for the walkers, which I'm curious about. Eventually people will get used to it. 100% not the idiot. You bought that land, you built that house, it's your privacy and quality of life, and you don't owe anyone anything, not even an explanation. If the whole town likes that shortcut so much, why didn't the town buy the section of land to build a roadway? They didn't, and they had the time since you said it was vacant for a while, so boo-hoo and tough luck. Fence off the walkable pedestrian area, add a locking pedestrian gate, and get some big and vocal dogs. People need to respect your property and privacy, period. Not the idiot. I work with the police. Sounds like the police in your area are being lazy. You are not obstructing their work. Now if for some reason your driveway was allowing them to arrive to an emergency much faster than that, I might understand, but not for speed traps. Sounds like your town might need to rethink the roads in that area. I, 33, have had the same friends since college. We became close our freshman year and have remained friends since then. It consists of me and my 4 buddies plus our wives. It started out as me and my buddies, but as we got older our families have expanded and so have the friend group. Once a month we have barbecues and each one of us take turns hosting. My wife, Jane, is autistic and has trouble eating certain foods. She has sensory issues. To be safe, I have given my friends a list of foods that are safe for her to eat and won't cause any problems. It's really easy food and none of them have a problem accommodating her. The other day we were over at one of my friend's house. His name is John, fake name. We all got our food and his wife, Caroline, went and grabbed the plate that was for my wife. My other friends, Nick, wife saw. Her name is Sarah and she is pregnant. She said she didn't want the food that was made in one of my wife's food. The problem was John and Caroline only made enough for Jane and not enough for anybody else. Sarah then demanded my wife give up her food because she has a baby to nourish and my wife doesn't. My wife has trouble communicating what she wants to other people, so I told Sarah that my wife only eats certain foods and this is one of them. Sarah snapped back saying that the other food is making her nauseous and she has to eat something and my wife's food is the only thing that looks appealing to her. I told her that she or her husband can get in the kitchen and make something, but my wife will not be giving up her food. She called me rude and inconsiderate and stormed out of the backyard. Nick went to chase after her shortly after. Am I the idiot for not letting a pregnant woman eat my wife's food? Not the idiot. Pregnancy is difficult, but that doesn't mean she can be that entitled. Your wife is autistic and you have given a list of food to your friends, which they don't have trouble accommodating. This was an issue she and her husband needed to solve. If that means that the husband had to run to a grocery store, well, so be it. Just because she is nourishing a baby doesn't mean it's okay to make your wife starve. Not the idiot. She's learning firsthand how difficult it is to live with sensory issues about food, now that the smell of her usual foods makes her sick. She knows she's pregnant, and that this is a very real possibility when pregnant, but she didn't plan for it. She's not starving, and she's capable of finding something else to eat. She may be overly emotional right now, so ignore the excess drama and let the entire thing go. Not the idiot. Jane and Sarah both have special food needs. Jane due to autism and Sarah to pregnancy. Jane was prepared because you established prior to the event what her dietary requirements were. Sarah was not. If Sarah feels that she is entitled to Jane's meal for any reason, pregnancy included, she is flat out wrong. Maybe at the next event Sarah will inform the host of her food requirements/preferences. I, 16, recently was asked by my mother's husband, 39, to pay my half-sister, 13, $60 after I drew on her face with a washable marker. I have been asked not to do it a few times before, but recently I did it a week ago because she refused to stop coming into my room without knocking, when I was changing, when I was watching TV, at 3 a.m. for no reason, doing homework. It happens at least once a day, and I have repeatedly asked her not to and brought up the situation to my mother and she told her not to. She doesn't stop. I eventually got fed up and drew on my sister's face while she was sleeping with washable marker. I drew a smiley face and a tic-tac-toe board. My mother got mad at me, and I told her that when my sister stopped coming into my room, I would stop drawing on her face. My sister after the incident ended up going to my mother's husband, her father, and telling him about the incident. The next day she said to me that he said I would have to pay her $50 because I drew on her face. A few days later, my mother brought the incident up and we got into a disagreement over it because I said that I would continue to draw on her face until my sister stopped coming into my room. Finally, today, my mom called me out into the kitchen and said that because I drew on her face, I would have to pay her $30. I have been saving up for AP exams in March, and since it's around 100 plus USD per exam and I plan to take several, so I refused and said that I wouldn't. My mother's husband calls me out into the living room and said that because I didn't give her the $30 immediately, it would be doubled, and I would have to pay her $60. I told him no and asked who came up with the punishment. He said me and your mother. I called BS and said that I knew he came up with it because my sister had mentioned a similar punishment a week earlier. She, my sister, would just spend it on Robux. My mother's husband said that if I didn't give her the money that I would be grounded and banned from extracurriculars. I am currently the vice president of 2 clubs and a member of one because it looks good on college apps. I still said no. Currently, my phone, which my father paid for so I could call him, my TV, I paid for, and my computer, my mother got me for school, are taken away. I am banned from extracurriculars, and my door was taken off the hinges. I am not allowed to put a curtain over my door or anything that will obscure the entrance. My mother's husband said that we will revisit this topic in a month, and I won't be allowed to use my devices or put my door back on the hinges until then. He works until 7 p.m. every day and the time when he isn't working is spent on his phone in his room. I barely see him at all. So, am I the idiot? Oh hun, is living with your dad an option? It seems like your sister feels like she can bully you and your mom isn't protecting you from that. The punishment is way extreme for what you've said you did. It just doesn't feel like a safe environment for you. Not the idiot. I read it through and I think the punishment was out of hand. Not only do you have responsibilities, privacy, which compared to your sister who seems to have a lot of free time, you need the time and money more than her. Have you tried telling them all the clubs you have to manage and exams? Your future depends on these. I hope they don't ruin it. Not the idiot. I'm so sad your mom isn't protecting you. Your stepdad sounds like he's fostering an unhealthy environment on you that's going to negatively impact your future education goals. Screw that. Tell your dad ASAP. Talk to your mom ASAP. And if your mom doesn't try to understand how you're feeling and rectify this punishment, then you need to talk to a school counselor. I gave birth to mine and my husband's first baby in June. We named her Rosie. My sister, ever since we announced our daughter's name, has purchased personalized stuff with the names Rose, Rosemary, Rosalie, and Roseanne. But never her actual name. Our daughter's full legal name is Rosie, not any of those. None of those are what anyone calls her. I thought the first one with Rose was a genuine mistake, but she keeps buying these gifts with the wrong name. I brought it up to her and she said it's no big deal since most people will assume Rosie is a nickname and not her legal name. I told her that didn't mean her own family should use the wrong name for her. She told me she would never understand the decision anyway. I told her that she was making it a much bigger deal than it needed to be. She told me I was. That's when I told her what she was doing was rude and she should stop. She accused me of being rude when she's giving gifts and I'm pointing out mistakes. She also told me I was making too big of a deal out of it and making this a fight. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your sister is doing this purposely. Next time she gets your daughter a gift with the wrong name, in front of everyone take it from her, read the name and tell your daughter Valp that's not your name, and give it back to your sister. State something innocent like, "This says Rosanna, my daughter's name is Rosie. I'm not sure who you purchased this for." Not the idiot, your sister is being weirdly passive-aggressive. Multiple personalized gifts with the wrong name for a baby? Those are aimed at you and her issue with you giving your daughter what she thinks of as a nickname. Toss the next wrong gift in the trash in front of her. Tell her no more gifts with names, or no more gifts at all if she'd prefer. Not the idiot, she's being very deliberately rude. What kind of crappy aunt actively keeps misnaming her niece? She's being deliberately antagonistic. It's not a mistake, it does matter, she doesn't need to understand the reasoning behind the name, and you should just start returning any misnamed gift immediately.